Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books to movies and everything in between. My name is Aidan, and I hope that you're doing well today. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a review of this Marvel Comics Essentials of the Mighty Thor. This collects Journey into Mystery number 83 to 112, and this is volume 1 of the Thor collection. I believe there are 3 or perhaps 4, but here is the back, here is the spine, and once again here is the cover by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and friends. Now, this collected version reprints the stories in black and white, but they were originally printed in color. I don't know exactly why they didn't print the colors, but I do enjoy the artwork, and the stories, I think, are very well written. Although, you know, this is the Silver Age, so it can be campy, and the dialogue can be a bit much, especially since it's written by Stan Lee, but I still find great enjoyment of it. So basically, it's, you know, the early adventures of Thor from his first appearance in Marvel Comics, because Thor is a Norse god based in Norse mythology, and I remember watching an interview with Stan Lee where he was talking about how he wanted to expand the Marvel universe into a more magical, mystical side. And so he was like in a bookstore and he saw a book about Norse mythology, he skimmed through it, and he was like, oh, Thor, that's cool. Then he went to Jack Kirby, then they talked about what they wanted to do with this, with the stories, and so they're like, okay, let's get cracking, and the rest is history. So the first time we see Thor in this in the Marvel universe is during a story called The Stone Men from Saturn. So the Earth is being invaded by the aliens from Saturn, which is a real planet, obviously, but as scientists have proven, Saturn cannot actually host life, but this is a comic book from 1962, so obviously it's going to be not very scientific. But Thor defeats the aliens, then he goes on his merry way, and he continues to have more adventures fighting his brother Loki, fighting other Asgardians like the Enchantress and her executioner, and we get to see Thor fight, you know, other villains in the Marvel universe like Magneto, because this goes into 1965, so after he's already become a founding member of the Avengers, and since the introduction of the X-Men, so he fights Magneto, and he teams up with Doctor Strange in one issue, and you know, there's just a cadre of colorful characters, and it's very interesting in my opinion. Here's the cover of the first appearance of the Enchantress and Executioner. And here we have Hela, the Norse goddess of death, and Lady Sif, so Lady Sif is a character who's in love with Thor, but Thor is in love with a human woman named Jane Foster, because we learn this later on, but the king of the Norse gods, Odin, who is Thor's father, had banished Thor because of his arrogance to teach him humility.
I now take from you your power in the name of my father and his father before. I own it all, father! Cast you out!
So he sends him to Earth, removes his memories, and gives him a human form of Dr. Donald Blake. And the idea is that as a doctor, he will learn humility by healing the ill and infirm of Earth. And, during the first issue, he is on a vacation to Norway, and he finds, when he's hiding from the aliens, he finds this cave that has a stick. He's like, I lost my walking stick, so I guess I lost my cane, so I'll use this as a walking stick. So he grabs it, and he's like trying to hit it. He's trying to, get some leverage to open up the cave, so he hits it, and then that turns him back into Thor. So when he taps the walking stick, he becomes Thor, and when Thor taps his hammer, he goes back to Donald Blake. And when he's away from the hammer for more than a minute, he reverts back to Donald Blake. But also when he taps the hammer twice, then thunderstorms and rain come along. Then he taps it 3 times, then there's lightning. Taps it just once, he's back to human. But Thor learns humility throughout this series and throughout the Avengers and his own series. And then once Thor gets his own series, after the lesson is learned, Odin says, well, you can come back to Asgard if you want, but if you want to stay and protect more people, that's fine. You can come and go as you please. And so that's what happens years down the line. But another thing that's cool about this is that we get Tales of Asgard, which are backup stories. So it'll be a few pages of Thor before he was banished, or it's, during the present day of Thor's friends and family having their own adventures in Asgard. So here he's fighting the King of the Trolls, and this is when he was 20, so way in the past. But I really, really enjoyed Jack Kirby's art. We also get art from Joe Sinnott and Don Heck, who co-created Iron Man with Lee and Kirby. So we get a lot of cool stuff in this book, and I definitely recommend it. This was printed in 2001, and this is an original printing of the collection, so more modern reprints might have re-added the colors. I don't know for sure, but I bought this at not my local comic shop, but at a store that predominantly sells video games but also has comic books. That's also where I bought my full collection, well, my almost all of the issues of the Fantastic Four Volume 2. I had to find issue 1 at Fan Expo a couple of years ago, but I got most of the Fantastic Four Volume 2 there, so they are a great store. And I bought this for either $25 or $30 Canadian. But yeah, let me just flip through some of the pages here. Oh, and Jane Foster is his nurse, and I have a t-shirt of when Jane was worthy to lift Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, so she became the mighty Thor, but that was in like 2012. So, 50 years after this. But Loki is the villain of my favorite issue of this, which is Journey into Mystery 86, which is the introduction of Loki into the Marvel Universe. And then Loki would go on to be the villain of the Avengers #1. And I do have a reprint copy of that, and at the time of recording, it is almost Valentine's Day 2026. And later this year, I believe, either later this year or early on next year, I have it in my schedule to do a review of that. So if you're enjoying this video, then please click the like button. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. If you're new to my show and want to check out more videos like this, please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos, and you'll get a notification when my review of the Avengers #1 eventually uploads. And share this with your friends if they're interested in this sort of content. And in the description of the video, I'll leave a link to my podcast, so if you'd like to listen to me discuss the same topics but you just don't have time to watch a full video, I'll leave a link to that. So please subscribe and share that with your friends. And I'll also leave links to my social media profile, so if you'd like to stay up to date and send me messages, I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and Discord. And I will also leave links to my Patreon page and merch store, so if you'd like to support this show financially, I would greatly appreciate that. And if any companies are watching, I will shill for you if you pay me. So if, ExpressVPN or Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola or, any legitimate businesses want me to do sponsorship for them, I'm willing to do that for a pittance. You don't have to pay me much, just a little bit. But anyway, back to the video. I just want to flip through and show you some more artwork because it is absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. I love how they use shadow and how, the faces are similar, especially when it's Jack Kirby, but you can distinguish them from each other. Like Thor doesn't look the same as Odin, nor does he look the same to Iron Man when he shows up, etc., etc. And Jane Foster looks different from Sif, who looks different from Hela, etc., etc. So I think it's absolutely amazing. But let me skip ahead here. Yeah, so there's this really cool issue where he fights the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Then we don't see the X-Men, but they are mentioned, and we see Iceman's blast freeze Magneto's weapon, which is cool. But yeah, so that's all I've got for you today on this video for the National Timely Action Hour. Once again, my name is Aiden, and I sincerely hope that you all have a wonderful day. Thanks